Hi, it's election time across the nation. I'm here in Florida. We have a primary election coming up on August 28th. So if you'd like to vote for your Republican or Democrat candidates in that election, you need to register no later than July 30th. I've had some people ask me about campaign signs and whether they can put them in their yard. The city that you live in or the county is likely going to have some type of ordinance regarding signs, and the government entity, the city or county, cannot discriminate on the content of a sign, but they can regulate the time, place, and manner of that sign, meaning how long you can put it up, manner, what size it is, place, where in your yard you can put it, how many feet back from the road, whether you can put it in a window. Municipalities, government organizations, they get into trouble when they try to regulate the content of signs. So most municipalities try to avoid civil rights litigation by saying, yes, you can have up political signs, but we're going to regulate the time, place, and manner. I know in Florida, where I live, there are a lot of homeowners associations, and there are homeowners associations, condo associations across the country. And First Amendment free speech, political speech rights have been litigated through federal courts, state Supreme Courts, probably even up to the Supreme Court. They have a lot of power to regulate your free speech. I live in an HOA that says no signs are allowed except a for sale sign, and maybe you can get permission to put up a garage sale sign. So my HOA would get into trouble if they tried to regulate the content of my speech, but there has not been a case to actually test that. So for now, my HOA says you cannot have any sign in your yard. So what could I do to maybe challenge that or to test it? Well, number one, if you really want to be politically active and it's important to you to put up signs in your yard and your HOA currently says that you can't, you need to become a member of your HOA board. Well, I know that it's election time now, so maybe you don't have time to campaign to become a board member. So maybe you want to test that rule. So I could say, well, I want to be a stinker and I want to test my neighbors in my HOA, and I'm going to put a sign in my yard 5 days before the election. Or I'm going to fly my Make America Great Again flag 3 days before the election on my flagpole. And I'm going to hurry up and do that real fast before the HOA comes and sends a letter to say you need to take that down. So I wouldn't be violating a law. You need to understand that you're not violating any city, county, or criminal law. You're perhaps violating an HOA rule. So they eventually could fine you if you don't comply with the rule. They have to give you notice first. You will typically have time to be able to appeal that. Maybe say this is a little unfair. One of these days an HOA might get sued for it, and it could go up to the courts, and we could get a ruling that says HOAs, you're not allowed to regulate your residents' political free speech. However, currently under the law, homeowners associations, HOAs, are not considered government entities or even quasi-government entities that can take away your free speech rights. When we move into an HOA, we do so because we appreciate the uniformity, the regulations that keep our property values high. So, maybe it's being a good neighbor to kind of work with your residents and your board members if it's important to you to put up political signs. One thing I will say, do a cost-benefit analysis. Don't tick off your neighbors by putting a MAGA sign in your yard if you don't feel like getting into fights, because the statistics show that going door to door for your candidate is the best way to get votes. Sign up with your local party, get with a local candidate. Saturdays, we do canvassing events, and that's really going to get votes more than putting up a yard sign. So happy campaigning.